Good morning. Well, today I'm in a town which I'm very proud to say has been my home for many years now. In fact, I've lived here longer than anywhere else I've ever lived. This is Matlock. Matlock is the county town of Derbyshire, situated at the southeastern part of the Peak District, with a national park directly to the west. Crown Square and the River Derwent lie at the heart of Matlock. Small independent shops, cafes, pubs and restaurants cluster around Crown Square and along the A6 at Dale Road, while there is a good rail link to Derby and buses to Derby, Manchester and other towns and villages in the area. Pioneering industrialist John Smedley developed this attractive market town as a fashionable spa in the 19th century, and his legacy lives on in buildings such as the Gothic-style Ryber Castle dominating Matlock's skyline, as well as Smedley's Hydro, now the headquarters of Derbyshire County Council. The award-winning Hall-Lease Park, with its boating lake, riverside walks, tennis courts and skateboard park, is the first of 5 beautifully restored public parks stretching along the Derwent to Matlock Bath, a scenic option for a leisurely stroll. There is also a brilliant, literally named, cafe in the park, which I can say from my own experience is very much worth visiting. Living in the Peak District is just wonderful. There are just so many walks I can do. But more often than not, I tend to get in my car and go to other parts of the Peak District for walks. I forget that I can do so many from my own doorstep. And today's walk is just such a walk where I can literally walk right from my front door. From the park, I walked along Knowlstone Place to climb up Stony Way. I was now in Old Matlock, next to St Giles Church, and where the excellent Duke William pub is situated. During lockdown, there were a lot of pubs in Matlock that were offering a takeaway service, and the Duke William was such a pub. And I actually used the Duke William a few times during lockdown, and I actually had a takeaway carvery. It was lovely. And when I think about it, even before lockdown, I wasn't really comfortable going into a restaurant or a pub by myself to dine. So having the takeaway service was great during lockdown, and they still offer it now. So what you would do was you'd ring them up the night before and book a slot. So I'd ring them up on a Saturday night, and I would say, can I book a slot for 2 o'clock on Sunday for a carvery? And then you would just turn up in your car and they would basically serve it for you, and then you just take it back home with you. It was lovely, and that suited me so well. I must use it again, actually. The medieval Church of St Giles is a Grade II listed parish church. I think its setting speaks for itself. Next to the churchyard I climbed onto Pic Tor, with its war memorial on the summit. Well, here on Pic Tor, I think provides some of the best views of Matlock. Walking on, I took a path that would soon lead me to another tor. As I climbed higher, the views around me became more and more spectacular. Right, I've now arrived on High Tor, and this is a beautiful spot, as you'll see. Now, this to me is one of the places that you must visit if you're in Matlock. However, if you have a fear of heights, it's probably not for you. High Tor, at 300 feet, is one of the highest inland cliffs in England. I had great views down into Matlock Dale, through which the A6 runs alongside the River Derwent. Well, I don't think I really need to say anything, do I? But it's wonderful. Okay, I think you'll agree that's pretty impressive. Just don't get too close to the edge. Okay, the next part of my walk takes me along the very appropriately named Giddy Edge. Giddy Edge is definitely not for the faint-hearted, although there are handrails for safety. To me, as long as you walk it in dry weather and not after recent rain when it can be slippery, it is very much worth the walk. Beyond Giddy Edge, I eventually dropped down some steps to a path just above the cable car station at Matlock Bath. But my way was left up the hill towards the village of Starkholmes. Now, the very first year I moved to Matlock, the very first Christmas I spent here, I was visited by family for Christmas, and I took them here to the White Lion at Starkholmes, and it was fantastic. I mean, I know it's changed ownership several times because that was nearly 17 years ago now since that Christmas, but it was the best Christmas meal I've ever had. And I've been here since for a few drinks with friends, but I must go back for a meal sometime because I hear it's good again, so, but a lovely location again in the village. I walked along Willersley Lane, where to my right I enjoyed views over Matlock Bath and the Heights of Abraham above. After about half a mile, I turned left before a house to take a footpath signposted to Lee. I was now heading south with open views of the Derwent Valley. mile on, my path led onto a lane, which began to curve to the left just before Castletop Farm. Right, there's a footpath off here. That takes me back towards Amber Valley, but I stick with this lane just up to Castletop Farm. I'm doubling back on myself here. I'm heading back towards Matlock now. Delightful. Another delightful walk. Thought I'd say delightful because it's something different than wonderful, because I keep saying wonderful. So I'm going to say delightful today. I turned right along the footpath before the entrance to Castletop Farm. Going through a gate, the path climbed steadily upwards. As I continued my ascent, I occasionally stopped to enjoy the views back over the Derwent Valley. It was about another half a mile or so when my route became a truly delightful narrow path between dry stone walls. I was now on Hearthstone Lane. Where the path reached the top of the gradual ascent and began to descend the other side, I was on Bilberry Knoll, topped by several small standing stones. Continuing down Hearthstone Lane, I had a great view of the place I would be visiting before the end of today's walk. Reaching Hearthstone Farm, I turned right just beyond it along a narrow path, which soon came out into the open again to cross several fields. Oh, flippin' heck. I know I'm not the thinnest person in the world, but I'm not the fattest either. But bloomin' heck, when they built these gap styles many years ago, people must have been built like sticks in those days. Coming out onto a junction of lanes, I was in Ryber, a hamlet lying within the boundaries of Matlock, situated high on a hill overlooking the town. The old, possibly Elizabethan Ryber Hall and Manor House is a Grade II listed building and farm with cottages. The hall was previously run as a hotel and restaurant. As of 2014, it is a private residence, offering self-catering accommodation in converted outbuildings. I think Ryber's lovely. It's so close to Matlock, but yet it's secluded and quiet. Lovely. Really nice, peaceful place. The lane swung sharply left to end at a gate, alongside which I followed a narrow path. Well, here I am again at another of today's highlights on the walk, and this is the closest I'm going to get to Ryber Castle. Ryber Castle is a 19th century Grade II listed country house, standing dramatically on a hill overlooking Matlock. Known locally as Smedley's Folly because of the difficulty of getting water to the hill summit, it was built by John Smedley in 1862 as his private home. It has since been used as a prep school and a wildlife park. Well, as I say, this is as close to Ryber Castle that I can get. But what a fantastic Matlock landmark. It was supposed to have been converted into apartments. There's glass in the windows, but it's been like this now for some years. Work seems to have come to a stop. I'm not quite sure what's happening now. Oh well. Anyway, whatever. Standing here in front of Ryber Castle now, just look at those views. Need I say more? Okay, well, back down into Matlock now then. So that was a walk, and what a delightful walk it was. And isn't Matlock beautiful? You can see why I feel lucky to live here. Well, it's time to go home now. I'm just going to walk up that hill and then I'll be home.